Hello, we are not. Yeah. Hello.
Oh, hi. I just had a question I was wondering if someone could help me with.
Okay.
Do you have time?
Well, I do.
Okay. Well, I have some friends who are Jehovah's Witnesses, and they always use the expression like if you want to leave the organization, it's called leaving Jehovah. Like, what do they mean by that?
I'm not familiar with that expression myself. I mean, I've seen it in print.
Right. Yeah.
About leaving Jehovah, but you're talking about making some kind of a personal decision to disassociate oneself from the congregation or something?
Yeah, or just discontinue coming. Then they call that leaving Jehovah. I was just wondering why that is.
Well, of course, serving Jehovah and worshiping Jehovah is a way of life, a way of Christian life. And we have some people that maybe at times they have differences with living the life that one of Jehovah's Witnesses is supposed to live. And
is that the only reason people leave? Because they don't want to follow the rules or something? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, we try to we're imperfect people, but we try to live by what the Bible has taught us and what we've learned to have proper conduct, to be honest, to be moral people, to set a good example as parents if we have children for the children.
Well, that's not what I was asking. I was asking if you truly believe that that's the only reason people leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. Because they want to do, bad things that break the rules and things like that.
Well, some people get into doing things like that, bad things, but they have to usually they have to speak to the brothers that we call elders. Have you ever heard that expression used, elders?
Yeah, it's in the Bible, but that wasn't the question I was asking. I was asking, do you truly believe that's the only reason that people would want to leave?
People have various reasons for doing certain things.
Right.
But you can't understand really or see into their heart what motivates them to do that.
I guess you could just ask them.
You could what?
You could just ask them why they're leaving.
Well, yeah. Nobody's ever asked just to leave. I mean, that's a personal decision that a person has to make if they, if they're going to decide to leave.
It sure comes at a high cost, doesn't it?
It does. Yes,
yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Do you think that's what 1 Corinthians 5 is talking about? Do you think it's talking about people that just don't come anymore? About shunning, even if they're your mother or your father or your child? Or is it talking about people doing gross sins?
Sometimes they get disfellowshipped.
Right. But isn't that just about people that are still claiming to be Christians? It says so-called brother. So people leave Jehovah's Witnesses and they're just not coming anymore. And they are shunned as well. I just wonder what the scriptures is for that.
They would only be shunned if they've committed some serious sin.
What if they just wanted to disassociate because they were baptized like when they were 8 and they didn't really understand it, or they couldn't really do research when they're 8 or 10, like they're advocating now child baptism?
Well, a person would have to be baptized to be disassociated.
Right.
They would have to be baptized to disassociate.
Right. What if they were just a kid?
Sometimes if they fall into sin and they don't want to be investigated or they don't want to talk about that, they'll rather than confess and straighten their life out and get help, they'll disassociate themselves. Now, some other churches in the world, say excommunicated. I think the Catholic Church uses the word excommunicate. But even some of the other religions, the Baptists, I know I've had this discussion with some fellows when I was at working, and they would say even the Baptists and some of those other religions are supposed to. They're supposed to excommunicate people. If they're not going to live a Christian life, and they're offered help, but they don't want that help, so they'll just leave. They'll just leave, so to speak, or they'll disassociate themselves. Are you still there?
Yeah. Okay. Again, I was just still wondering why, just because someone wants to leave. I know of people that have left for many different reasons. Like they researched the history of the organization, which they never really were fully aware of, learned about things like Beth Sarim and Rutherford's predictions, Russell's predictions that failed in 1914. Yeah, it was an epic fail. And they present it as a victory or some kind of proof. So I think if a person goes back to the original sources and realize what he was actually predicting, they're kind of shocked because they're not very straightforward about that. And the generation, like maybe 6 different explanations of what that is. And I know people left with the overlapping generation. They thought it was ridiculous, as would anybody who reads the Bible.
If a person gets online or gets on YouTube or some of these other things that come across the internet, they can hear and see all kinds of things.
Yeah, and then they can check the original sources in the books to see if those things are true. So it's very easy to check. Yeah, and so that's why some people leave. They feel they want to have Jesus for their mediator. They believe the Bible teaches Jesus is for all people as mediator, and they saw things in the publications that said he's mediator only for the anointed class. That's one reason. Some people read the transcript of the Australian Royal Commission on Child Sexual Abuse. That's another reason many left.
Yeah, you'll see people identified on there as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You have to be careful and you have to be careful and work your way through those things if you want to even listen to it at all. But,
and you can research the Australia Royal Commission on Child Sexual Abuse by reading the official government transcript and see the shocking statement made by Jeffrey Jackson under oath. I don't know if you heard about it. That caused people to leave. He was lying under oath, essentially, after they were told all their life they had to confess that the organization is the only channel of truth on earth. So what he said was just very deceptive because he was talking to other people, and he swore on the Bible. He wouldn't state that when he was asked, and everybody was gasping because they know it's written in the publications. So those are like many reasons, like people leave, because they don't believe Michael's the archangel anymore. Maybe they come to believe Michael, the Pope is Michael the archangel, like the society used to teach. So then they leave because they don't agree anymore, Maybe they want to worship Jesus like the society used to teach, to worship Jesus until 1950 or so. So,
You've had some exposure then to the beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses, have you?
Oh, yeah. I love learning about religions and theology and things like that. And there's a lot of them in my area here, so I like to chat with them once in a while.
What area are you talking about?
I live in Arizona.
Yeah,
so what convinces you that it would be the equivalent of leaving Jehovah just because you don't go to the Kingdom Hall anymore? Like biblically or logically, or I can't get a take on that.
Ask that question again now.
What convinces you that leaving the Watchtower organization is the same as leaving Jehovah? Because they say it all the time. Either leave Jehovah, return to Jehovah. We know that means return to the Watchtower organization.
Well, again, if a person is old enough to study and make a decision to serve Jehovah, and then they flip the switch, so to speak, and they turn around and go the other direction. They stop going to the meetings. They stop going out in field service. They stop praying. They stop studying the Bible, or they're listening to all these other things out there that people are putting out about Jehovah's Witnesses, they get weak in faith. Their faith weakens, and
what if their faith in Christ becomes stronger? And it's their faith in the Watchtower organization that weakens because of the research they've done. One guy simply read the old books. His aunt gave them to him. He couldn't believe it. What was in there?
Mm-hmm. Well, because one thing we understand that Jehovah is the source of light. His word is the basis for the source of light that we have, and his word, the Bible, is the source of light.
So why has it changed so much on very major things and things that, they said that was the truth at that time? They don't present it as provisionally true, right?
Well, that's
doesn't make any sense.
Spiritual light keeps getting brighter and brighter.
No, not when you present it as the truth. They don't. Do they present what they're teaching you now as just provisionally true?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. Oh, okay. So you can. What if you say you don't agree with like some little point, like the overlap generation? Then you could be disfellowshipped if you go around saying that openly. Why would that be a big problem if their truth is only provisionally true? That's not how they present it. Come on. I mean, I've read their stuff. You have to accept it as coming. They call it from Jehovah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jehovah is the source of truth.
Did you know that Satan transforms himself into an angel of light? Also,
yes, I do.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's if it's from Jehovah, light from Jehovah, it wouldn't change to the total opposite, would it? Maybe it's light from, Satan. They say they communicate with angels. I wonder which ones they're communicating with. Angels communicate to them.
They say that there are refinements. There are adjustments that are made over a period. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's just a funny word to say. You used to be teaching something false. See, it plays on your mind. How nice. Oh, a refinement. Oh, that's so nice. Do they call that refinements when it's other religions teaching something that needs to be changed? No, they call it a falsehood, a false prophecy. Even.
Well,
Can you imagine? Here's the irony of this. They had this whole article about false prophecies, like Harold Camping and doomsday groups.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you see the irony in that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you ever look at any other sources besides JW.org? I mean, I won't tell anybody.
Oh, I don't have any curiosity about what these other people are putting out, or what these other groups are teaching. No.
Oh, it's not a group. It's just, you can fact check it if you ever get disturbed by really some of the things going on in the society. They're going to be in a big documentary in Canada, next week. It's like our version of 60 Minutes about different child sexual abuse cover-ups that they've done. And they're suing them in Canada for $66 million. We're a class action where people get together to do it, So, I mean, I think the overall best website is called jwfacts.com because it's not written in an emotionalistic style, and, he gives references that you can check for everything he talks about on there.
Well, I've been one of Jehovah's Witnesses all my life, and I have never seen anything covered up. Any wrongdoing done from my own personal experience.
Well, covered up means that you're probably not going to know about it. So there's just
not what?
Well, when things are covered up, that means even members don't know about it. They cover up their history, their own history. They cover up. You have to go to the original sources because there's just so much they leave out. They'll throw you a few things just to make it seem like they're being honest, but it leaves out a ton. It's amazing. But anyways, jwfacts.com. It's great with the internet. No one would ever know, and you can fact check it yourself. You're smart enough to know if it's bogus or if it's true,
So, have you gotten an answer to your original question about then what it means to leave Jehovah?
I don't think so, because you seem to be just kind of diverting a little bit. I think that it's difficult to tell somebody that really they equate the organization with Jehovah, because, like, if I went from one Christian gathering to and then decided to go to a different one, they would never say I left Jesus or I left God. Like, we consider that very cultic, because they're claiming exclusivity on the truth, which is not make any sense in light of their history. So, and it's an incredible claim to say, just because I don't go there, I'm leaving Jehovah. Because I know many wonderful people that really didn't leave Jehovah, and they kind of reevaluated some of the main doctrines too, as to why Christians have believed certain things, for so long. Because truth endures; it doesn't change. Basic Christian truths endure. Anyways, well, thanks for being so nice to me.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay. You sound like a nice guy. I appreciate it.
Well, okay. Let me mention one other thing.
Okay.
If you go back to the days of Moses and when he was leading the nation of Israel, and there were people that were in that group that left Egypt with Moses. They came through the Red Sea. Now, you believe all that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that's true. And you remember when they started going into the Promised Land, and then when Moses left the scene and Joshua took over the leadership of the nation of Israel, he mentioned there that some of those people they wanted to leave Jehovah. They wanted to leave. And he said to them, make your choice. He said, Joshua said, for me and my household, we're going to serve Jehovah. But he says, if you want to go serve those other gods, serve those gods on the other side of the river, other side of the land, or join up with those other people that are worshiping some god or gods or goddesses, he says, go ahead. You have your people have free will to do what they want to do, or to make a choice to do what they want to do. And so some left, and you've got people even today that they become dissatisfied for whatever reason it might be. That's their choice. If they want to leave, nobody's going to say no. You've got to stay here. You can't do that. Blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. And that's because we have free will. Well,
that's interesting that you make a parallel and an analogy like that with Moses, because. Are you now claiming the organization is a prophet? Because Moses was a prophet who validated with great signs and wonders.
No, our people have never claimed to be prophets.
Oh, okay. Because then I don't see what the point of your analogy is unless the Watchtower has the same authority as Moses. Because at that time, leaving Moses as the prophet was leaving Jehovah.
That's right.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say they're not a prophet when you want to examine their predictions. Oh, we're not a prophet. But if you leave us, it's like leaving Jehovah, just like with Moses. Well, no, then you can't do that. Like, say, today, pastors and even seminary professors and leaders of denominations, they don't equate themselves with Moses because they don't believe, only Mormons believe there are living prophets. But they're teachers of the Word of God only with any authority so far as they really teach God's Word, And it's not like a prophet, not that kind of, like you're going to be Korah and swallowed up if you don't agree with them, right? Anybody could claim that, but there's no proof. And then if you want to be a prophet like Moses, then you have to be accountable for your false predictions in the name of Jehovah. Then you'd be accountable to Deuteronomy 18:20 through 22.
I was just using that as an example to...
they use it a lot. They use it a lot in their publications.
That people can make a choice. If they want to choose to leave, they can. I'm still trying to get to the core of, of what your question about leaving. What is included in leaving Jehovah? So.
Yeah. Well, it was a good conversation, and thanks for talking to me.
You're welcome.
Okay. God bless you.
And you have a great day out
you
there
too.
in Arizona.
Okay. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.